everybody, I'm Michael Burry. Did you know that I predicted the stock market crash of 2007 and 2008? Yes, I called the housing crash. That means everything I say is 100% correct.
Woo! Welcome back to Strongman Personal Finance. My name is Christopher Belly. I'm a certified CPA accountant. I'm a long-term boglehead investor. I'm author of the book Stop Being a Broke Loser. It's on Amazon. And I want to address some comments that people have made about the index fund bubble. That's right. Apparently, legendary stock picker, well, he didn't pick stocks, he shorted the housing market, Peter Lynch, warns against passive investing after the big short investor, Michael Burry, called it a dangerous bubble. Blah, 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 blah. And here he is with that. Is there something wrong with his eye? I don't know. Whatever. Okay. Peter Lynch said passive investors are missing out on market-beating returns. Oh, really? You mean I don't beat the market by buying the market? Wow. What a shock. Michael Burry of The Big Short warned the boom in index funds and ETFs is a dangerous bubble. I entirely disagree. Burry said passive investing is hurting small value stocks and shareholder activism. Maybe. I don't know. Blah, 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 blah. So Peter Lynch criticized it. Here is Burry saying it's a bubble in 2019. It's sapping interest in small undervalued securities. Now, another criticism I've said is when passive investments or passive funds, basically they buy more of the larger companies and less of the smaller companies. So the criticism is there's all this money flowing in and most of the money is being directed to stocks that have larger market caps, which is 100% true. Now, you would think if passive funds controlled the market, you wouldn't see massive drops in some very, very, very richly valued companies. Because if the entire market was passive, I mean, it could be 100% predictable. You know, every 2 weeks, a massive investment is going to come in, and it's all going to buy X amount of stocks at X amount weightings. And if a company reports bad earnings or reports good earnings, it's not going to change a thing because the entire market is passive. That's kind of the narrative that these people are trying to spin. People like Michael Burry are trying to spin. And I'm going to tell you that's complete and utter BS. And you can actually see it right before your eyes. So let's go to yahoofinance.com. And I'm going to show you some stocks that are very large companies that have been freaking wrecked recently. Okay. So the first one is Facebook. You know what Facebook is, bro? That's right. Down 7.77%. Woo! Now, Facebook is one of the largest stocks in the S&P 500. Now, you would think, because apparently passive investing has taken over the market, Facebook stock couldn't drop massively. Well, let me tell you what. What frickin' happened at one of Facebook's recent earnings? They had lower projected revenue going into the future, much lower than expected. And the stock sold off massively. If passive funds controlled the market, this stock would not have sold off. Nothing would have frickin' happened whatsoever. When you see a stock like Facebook sell off with a $544 billion market cap now, it was almost $1 trillion before, I don't think passive funds are really having that much of an impact. There's still a lot of price discovery in the market. There's still a very large active crowd. Now, I'm sure index funds have some effect on the market, but when you see a stock drop like that, no frickin' way. What else got frickin' wrecked? Netflix. Let's go to Netflix. Now, Netflix, I'm sure, is pretty well represented in passively managed funds. You would not be able to see such massive drops. Oh, look. What happened over the last couple of days, ladies and gentlemen? Do you see that freaking cliff? Literally a cliff. Do you think that was caused by index funds? No. Absolutely not. If passive funds control the market, this wouldn't have freaking happened. And by the way, I still don't think Netflix is a buy right now, personally, but you do whatever you want, okay? Let's look at some other large cap stocks. Amazon. Let's see if there's any big moves in Amazon. Amazon! It's on Amazon! My book's on Amazon. So Amazon's been flat. Tesla. La Tesla. Now, Tesla's gone up massively. Now, if we had passive funds controlling the market, Tesla would have grown a lot slower than this, okay? Do you see exactly what I'm talking about here? It doesn't make sense that passive funds are completely controlling the market. It doesn't make sense in the slightest. Let me tell you what these clowns are freaking doing, okay? I say this all the time. Clowns like Michael Burry and people like Peter Lynch, I will call Peter Lynch a clown. Michael Burry, I don't know. They want you to be active investors. Number one, because they can trade against you. And number two, if they make you believe active investing can actually work, which it can very rarely, then you might give them your money. Because if you don't give them your money, it's probably going to go to an index fund where they don't make any money. But if they convince you that index funds are stupid, you give them your money and they use that money and potentially lose it all. But what they also do is charge you massive fees, okay? It's a freaking scam. Now, will index funds potentially grow and grow into the future? Abso-freaking-lutely. But when I see stocks drop 35%, 10%, 15%, 20%, whatever, I just don't freaking see it. To me, it seems like there's a very active, healthy market when it comes to stocks. I mean, PayPal, freaking decimated. What happened to PayPal? Destruction. And of course, my favorite company, Tattoo Chef. I'm just kidding. Woo, below $10 today. Wonderful. So you believe whatever you want. Now, another thing you want to think of is, I think there is a bubble in the United States. I think the United States' stocks are massively overvalued. But that's another story. But when you think about passive investing, there's not just VT. There's not just VTI. There's not just VXUS. There's all these different index funds. There's an index for gaming. There's an index for scratching your nuts. There's all sorts of indexes. So even if index funds are the only funds around, what people would do is actively trade index funds. Like they would pile into this index if it was doing well, or they'd pile into that index and it was doing well. So there's still going to be an active market. It may not be as liquid as before, but there's still going to be an active market. It's not exactly the same as before index funds didn't exist, but if you think about it for a second, I don't think there's a problem. So yeah, I'm going to keep buying the Vanguard Total World Stock Market Index. Because if you think about it, I'm buying international stocks when they're out of favor. Don't care. And when U.S. stocks get decimated, and everybody's buying international or buying this or that, well, I'll be buying U.S. stocks. It's that easy, guys. It's that freaking easy. Anyway, that's it. I got to get ready for the bar. Oh, yeah. Michael Burry. Have a wonderful day. Cheers.
Hey, everybody. I'm Michael Burry. Did you know that I predicted the stock market crash of 2007 and 2008? Yes, I called the housing crash. That means everything I say is 100% correct.